What's the deal?
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 What's the deed?
Hello and welcome to another episode of What's the Deed, where we find out what's the deal around Deid Air Base. I am Staff Sergeant Stephen Atkins with the 379th Public Affairs Office. I'm joined today by Second Lieutenant Austin Alban from the 379th Expeditionary Civil Engineering Squadron here at Deid. Lieutenant Alban, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're here today to talk about our utility consumption here at Deid, more specifically electricity and water. So first and foremost, Lieutenant, what's the deal with our utilities here at Deid?
Great question. And the deal is that we use way too much on utilities.
Okay.
We're not being good stewards of how we use the resources that we do have here. And we need to cut down power consumption and water consumption a bit.
Gotcha. It's plain and simple. We're overusing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So without, I guess, getting too buried in the numbers, how are we overusing these utilities?
First example would be HVAC units. It's typically recommended to keep your units running from 74 degrees Fahrenheit to 76 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer especially, and that's about 23 to 24 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
So keeping it at that range is prime for keeping you cool and also conserving energy.
Gotcha.
The lower you push the thermostat, the more energy the unit will draw.
Oh, of course.
The less efficient we're being with our resources.
Gotcha. And then over on the CC side and the trailer side, where we've got those window units, we may not necessarily have a thermostat, but what is our responsibility in taking care of those?
Everyone who lives in the CC areas, in each of the trailers that you live in, it's the individual's responsibility who lives there to take out the filter once per month and just give it a quick clean off, dust it off, get all the gunk off the filter, and put it back in. That'll help the unit last longer and help the unit run better so that it's not drawing as much energy.
Sure. More efficient.
Exactly.
Awesome. So some other kind of in your room aspects like computers, and I'm just thinking of things that draw electricity.
A great example is leaving your laptop plugged in. It seems fairly harmless. However, if you leave your laptop plugged in days at a time, it's drawing what's called phantom power. So this power is still being pulled by your laptop from the circuits, but it's not actually being used since your laptop's just staying at 100% charged. So it's energy that is drawn but is never actually used.
So you're not using your laptop, but it's plugged in, still pulling power.
Exactly.
So, all right. And I think an easy one that we can all think of is lights. Are we really overusing our lights as well?
Absolutely. It's one of the easiest ways to lower our energy consumption here at Deid. Anytime lights aren't being used, you should turn them off. I mean, we have more lights than pretty much anything else here.
Sure.
So just turn them off. It's very simple. Even during the day, we have a lot of sunlight here at Deid, as everyone knows. If you can, during the day, go ahead and turn the lights off.
So let's flip over to the water side of the house. How are we overusing our water?
Really, it comes down to how long we use the services. So showers, recommended 5 to 8 minute showers, no longer than that. Sinks, when it comes to brushing and shaving, just turn the sinks off when you're not using it.
Yeah.
Don't let it run through the whole 2 minutes of brushing your teeth.
Right. All right. So what are some, we kind of touched on already, but some of the best practices that we could get in the habit of doing in order to cut down on these utilities?
So first and foremost, it's just being mindful that every time our room is cool, every time the lights turn on, we're using a service. Those services use a lot of electricity, and we just have to be more mindful of how much of that we do use.
And keep your shower short.
Exactly.
Awesome. Finally, Lieutenant, I got to ask you, how are you leaving it better than you found it here at Deid?
Really, it's all about just informing people every day and having conversations and letting people know how much energy they really are using. During the summer months, energy usage spikes 80%. So anything we can do to get everyone on base to understand how much energy they're really using.
And you're just trying to get that word out there.
That's correct.
Absolutely. Again, Lieutenant Alban, thanks very much for taking the time to speak with us about our utility usage here at Deid.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And stay tuned for another edition of What's the Deed, where we find out what's the deal around Deid Air Base.